You mentioned at the top with the IRA that not everyone is happy about it. So let's talk about that a little bit. The IRA has angered, I think, many of your allies in Europe and in Asia. A frequent criticism is that the bill offers unfair advantages to American companies, that it threatens European jobs and industries, and that it's essentially part of America becoming more protectionist. I should also add numerous economists, Adam Posen in this magazine, Larry Summers on this program, have made the case that while the IRA might be well-meaning, and it represents bad economics. Is that where we are, that to get anything done on climate change, we have to resort to protectionism?
No, we don't. And I think that where there are individual measures within the IRA that may have, annoyed people a little bit because of their focus on content or their focus on, location for production and so forth. The fact is we're working those differences out with our friends, with Canada, where President Biden just had a very successful meeting in Canada with Justin Trudeau, with our friends in Europe, where we've had a number of tweaks that have already been made. And my conversations with our allies and friends involved on this issue and other security issues is that they also get the bigger part of the message, which is we've got to put more money on the table in order to, in some cases, subsidize a transition that otherwise may not happen, but that we must effect in order to make our countries more secure. And an ancillary benefit, obviously, to the security issue, it's not just energy security. It's security that comes from avoiding conflicts in various places, not fighting over water, not seeing millions of refugees and migrants moving to intensify what is already a major challenge in terms of international relationships. So I see that happening. I see people really focusing in on the realities here. The science tells us that if we don't affect this transition, we will have trillions of dollars wrapped up in responding to the crisis. And you could have interruptions in food production in Africa and various other places. You could have a huge challenge to the adequacy of water supplies for people around the world. Look at what happened with Lake Mead, Lake Powell last summer, and the Colorado River. Look at what happened to the Rhine River, where it was down to...
Secretary Kerry, just to jump in there, one can't disagree with you on the sum of what you're saying, but the critique from economists that the IRA essentially represents bad economics, that it's a climate change bill called the Inflation Reduction Act. It's couching much of what are well-meaning initiatives, but couching it in job creation or industrial policy or reducing inflation. And that's where it's promising things that it's not actually going to do in the cleanest sense. I mean, economic history shows that you create jobs and you foster innovation by opening up markets, not by shutting them down.
We're not shutting them down. In fact, we anticipate that the IRA will, in fact, open up markets. It's going to open up whole new supply chains around the world. The world is not well served by having the major supply of critical minerals and, in the end, solar panels and or wind turbines coming from one country. That is not healthy for anybody. And so you have to find a way to break that. I mean, remember, we had a solar industry 15, 20 years ago. So did Germany. And what happened to that? China dumped massive amounts of solar panels into the marketplace, underpriced, and they basically took that market away, and people didn't pay that much attention to it, unfortunately. As some people are not paying enough attention to the challenge of the climate crisis right now. So we have no choice but to try to provide incentives to bring capital to certain places. You can't order private capital to go do this or that. That's not how America works. And nobody's suggesting we should be doing that. So we have always provided incentives. Go back and look at the oil and gas exploration incentives, some of which are still there after 50 and 60 years. We provided incentives on any number of different things where we need to we need to stimulate the market with a demand signal.